To do today is how to factor items when the coefficient of the item in the quadratic spot, that's the first position, has a coefficient other than 1. Okay, that's what we're learning about today. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of examples, and they're going to relate to the examples in the book, but I want to give you some different ones so that you have more than just the one example. So my example 1, you know what I'll do there is 2x squared, just so that it matches 7x, and I'll do more on top of it, minus 9. Okay. Step 1. Write the first and the last position as it sits, kind of spread out into the right and left. Okay, that's your first step. Do it. This isn't in the book. Multiply, step 2, the coefficients of the first and last numbers together. You should end up with a negative 18. Am I right? Okay, the question you're going to ask yourself is factors of negative 18 whose sum is the middle. Okay, this is very similar to what we just did. Okay, factors of the product of A and C whose sum is B. Okay, factors of the product of A and C whose sum is B. Now, some of you might already see it, but I'm going to list them out for fun. Negative 1, positive 18, 1, negative 18. Negative 2, positive 9, 2, negative 9. Most of you have probably zoned in on that. Would you agree with me? Okay. Take these two factors and place them here and here, trying to match the numbers as closely as possible with the numbers here. Okay? So I'm going to place this negative 2 here and this positive 9 here. Place an X here and an X here. Okay? You're like, Mrs. Myers, I'm not seeing it. So we're going to do it a bunch of times. Now, factor by grouping. Okay? I'm going to group these two together, and I'm going to group these two together. What do the 2x squared and the negative 2x share? And 2x. 2x, x minus 1. Are y'all seeing that? How I did that? How about the 9 and the negative 9? 9 plus 9, x minus 1. Remember how I had you guys factor numbers by grouping? You're doing the same thing here. We now have 2x and positive 9 being multiplied by x minus 1. Instead of leaving it this way, we are going to combine 2x plus 9 and multiply it by x minus 1. That is your answer. Okay? That is your answer. If you do it the way they do it, you have to list every single possible factor of every single possible combination of those numbers. The way I do it eliminates all that work. Okay? I'm going to give you another example. This is not in your book. 2b squared plus 13b minus 24. Step 1. List the first term and the last term off to the side. That's going to leave room in the middle for the factors of the product of this that equal that. Okay? So we need to find product of that. It's a negative 48, right? So negative 48. So I need to again identify factors of A, C, whose sum equals B. Factors of negative 48, whose sum is 13. Factors of negative 48, whose sum is 13. So I'm just going to write 1 and 48, 2 and 24, 3 and 16? 3 and 16. Ah, that kind of seems like something I might be able to work with. How about a positive 16 and a negative 3? Remember, one has to be negative, one has to be positive in order to create that. These are your numbers. Attach these to whichever of those of the end ones which you could see something in common with. All right? The 2 and the 3 won't share anything. The 24 and the 16 do, but the 24 and the 3 also do. So I'm going to put the negative 3 here and the positive 16 here. So we put the numbers and we attached a b, factor by grouping. Okay, you group in your negative sign so that you don't make a mistake there. I can pull out 2b here, can't I? 2b, b plus 8. I can pull out a negative 3 here, can't I? Negative 3, oh look, b plus 8. When you've done it correctly, these two items should be being multiplied by the exact same factor, okay? Instead of listing it that way, you group the 2b and the negative 3 because those two items get multiplied by b plus 8. You're done, okay? Example 2. It gets a little trickier, but the technique remains the same. You're just doing a lot less work than they're having you do. Example 2. I'm giving you the book example, then I'll give you another one. 14x squared minus 17x plus 5. First step, 14x squared, positive 5. Separate them because you know you're going to have some stuff going in the center. 14 times 5 is what, 60? Positive 60? We need factors of AC, A times C, whose sum is B. Yeah. Should be 70. Yeah. Nice. Factors of 70, whose sum equals B. You're going to find it probably right away. 1 and 70, 2 and 35, 3, 4. How about 10 and 7? Can we just go there? Most of you probably already saw that right off the bat. Okay? If you see it, just write it. I'm just showing you if you don't see it, write the factors, right? So, I mean 5 and 14, obviously. 7 and 10, all right. How can I create a positive 70 with these two factors, but they add together to equal that? They both must be what? Negative. Boom, boom. Place these numbers with that variable in positions where they share something in common. 7's going to go here. 10 is going to go here. Group them. Make sure you keep your negative in the group if there's a negative. Obviously, a positive is intuitive. 7x, 2x minus 1, negative 5. Oh, look, 2x minus 1. Okay, if you had factored out a positive 5, you would have had a negative 2x plus 1. Okay, that would mean you have to flip that sign to make sure that what is in here matches what is in here. Okay? 7x minus 5 times 2x minus 1. Okay? You can ask yourself, is there anything else that shares? But really, there wouldn't be, usually. Okay? That is their example 2. Here's another one for you. Here's another example. 5y squared minus 17y plus 6. Factors of a times c whose sum is b. 5y squared, 6. A times c is what? 30. Factors of a times c, positive, that give me a negative value. Anybody see it? 1 and 30, 2 and 15. Is that what you just said? Negative 2, negative 15. Awesome. He's right. Negative 2 times negative 15. And if you didn't see it, list them. 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10. And then play with negative and positive until you get something that multiplies together to get that, but added together gives us that. Place these two numbers next to whichever one it would factor with. 15 is going to go here with the variable, negative 2 with the variable. Group, 5y, y minus 3, negative 2. Oh, look, y minus 3. Since both of these items are being multiplied by the exact same factor, you can group them together and multiply them both by the y minus 3. Okay? I have found one occasion where this didn't work. One. In all of the factoring I've ever done. Okay? And it was an Algebra 2 crazy word problem. Okay? So if it didn't work for you, you did something wrong at this level. Okay? I haven't found any that it hasn't worked with. If you don't like the way I'm teaching it, by all means, look at their way. It's more work intensive, but it works. It just takes a whole lot longer. Example 3, book example 3, you've got an item that starts with a negative. I don't know if you notice it there, but you've got an item that starts with a negative. No, it doesn't. I'm sorry, I'm lying to you. You've got an item that starts backwards. Number, linear, quadratic. Okay? This is inverted from what you're used to seeing. So the first step in order to use my technique is going to be to put it in the right order. Negative 6x squared plus 11x plus 10. Now the third thing I'm going to tell you is that when you have a negative coefficient in the quadratic spot, oftentimes people make mistakes. So I am just going to forewarn you. Factor out that negative 1. Okay? Negative 1 times positive 6x squared is negative 6x squared. Negative 1 times negative 11x is positive 11x. Negative 1 times negative 10 is positive 10. I simply pull out the negative. Look at the result. Still, if I multiply it by what's within, I get what's above. Okay? Now, keep this in mind because you're going to need to attach it at the end. But for the rest of our argument, we're going to use our old technique. Factors of negative 60 whose sum is 11. Negative 11. So it's going to be a positive negative to give us that. But we're going to have a larger negative number. Some of you see it. I don't see it yet. 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15? 4 and 15? Okay. Negative 15 and a positive 4, when multiplied together, do give me this. When added together, do give me that. Not right now. I need you guys here. 6x squared, negative 10. Plug these in where they're most factorable and attach that 11, or that x. The 4, I'm going to stick over there because of the 2, or because of the 6. The negative 15, I'm going to sit over there because they both share that 5. Okay? If you did it the other way, You would still eventually get to the same result, it just might be a little tougher. I just try to find the biggest factor that they both share. Here it's a 5, here it's the 2. 2x, x plus 2, negative 5x plus 2, 2x minus 5, x plus 2, negative 1. There's your factor. Okay? So even if you have it in a weird order, flip it around with a negative, pull out that negative, and that changes the sign of everything by the opposite. Okay, you notice that? Everything got flipped because I pulled out the negative. Okay? Last one. Last one. This is the hardest. Example 4. I know I've taken a lot of your time, but this is important. It's important that you get all this. Example 4. 5a squared minus ab minus 22b squared. Okay. 5a squared negative 22b squared. What's 5 times 22? 110? Negative 110. Factors of negative 110 whose sum is a negative 1. That means they have to be 1 apart. So it's going to take a while. 110. 2 and I literally use my calculator. 110 divided by 2. 55. 3 no. 10 and 11? He's right. So he got that far. 10 and 11, if the 11 is negative and the 10 is positive, you're correct. Negative 10, I'm going to sit here. Negative 10, AB, the variable, the entire thing has to be included. Negative 11, AB has to be included. Group. Okay, 5a, a minus 2b, negative 11b, a minus a, oops, I should make that a positive, shouldn't I? Plus 11, let's see here. One of these is wrong. That should be a negative. That should be a negative. That should have been a positive. Sorry, 5a plus. And this is where I make mistakes, so I'm sorry, a plus 2b. See, that's a super easy mistake to make. I forgot to keep the 11 negative and the 10 positive. I made them both negative for whatever reason. So if you ever are at a place where you don't know what you did, go back, make sure you did everything right. 5a plus 11b multiplied by a plus 2b. Nothing else can come out of this mess. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and clip this off.